Hello, hello, hello. Hey, hey.
Ah,
What's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday night. I know you have not seen our faces in a very long time, but we are back from a very long, extended hiatus. So we are glad to be back in front of you, as are the dogs. You can hear them tippy tapping around. We haven't been live in so long. They're so excited. But I am your girl, Diamond Butterfly, aka Kyman. See, I haven't even had to say my name in so long. Kaixa Rodriguez, and that's your boy.
T to the way. How y'all doing out there? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Literally, it was a beautiful day out. Literally.
Fine, fine, my. Yes, yes, yes. So, a lot has happened in the past 2 months since we have been live. I've had surgery. Tony's been sick. I've been sick. Family members have been sick. We have found a place. We will be moving in a couple of weeks. We went on vacation. Um, and
It
what
was
else
an
is what
awesome
else?
one as well.
Yes, it was Tony's birthday. It was our anniversary. Oh my goodness. Yes, it was a very, very adventurous past 2 months. But we are back. We miss you guys. We hope you missed us as well. We hope you missed us. We missed you. So we're going to jump right back into things tonight. And we're going to continue like we always do. We're going to talk about family. It seems to be the theme. That has been going on for a while. So we're going to stick with the theme. But tonight we're going to talk about the missing link, the Big Mama effect.
Big Mama Effect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Y'all remember Big Mama. Not just the movie Big Mama, but the actual Big Mama. If you like our age, you had a Big Mama, especially in in families of color, the Hispanic family, the African American family. I don't know who else had a big mama. Hey, y'all cut it out. Who had big mamas in their family, but we had them. Whether y'all called her big mama, whether you called her abuela, whether you called her titi, whether she was an auntie, whoever she was that figure in the family that didn't nobody mess with, didn't nobody play with. You went to her house for the holidays. Maybe she made, Sunday dinner, but she kept the family structured. Structure was her name, and no, everybody knew not to mess with her. You went to her house, you were on your P's and Q's. You may have did whatever you wanted to out in the streets, but when you went to Big Mama's house, you knew don't play with her because she'd get that wooden spoon after you. Don't play, don't play. And I think, she's missing now. She's A lot of Big Mamas are either gone or they are, older in age. And um, if my generation did not carry on that tradition, which it has become hard to do, like when I had my kids, I did, things with them. We cooked, we had, Sunday dinners, um, family get-togethers and things like that. Then my sister got her apartment and wanted everybody to go there. She wasn't going to nobody else's house, so that kind of tour created that um, pull in the family. Whose house do we go to? And I always drew the short end of the stick. So everybody started going to my sister's house, who she thinks she's the big mama of the family. She has always thought, that she was the big mama of the family, and everybody was, she was in control of everything, even though she's younger than me. But it became harder as my kids got older, and like I said, as the family kind of pulled apart to continue doing those types of things. But what did you have a big mama? Did you have that type of influence in your life growing up? And I know a lot of people these days don't. They don't have that structure. They don't have that person. They may have a grandma, they may have an abuela, but I don't think it's the same unless she is that person from that time frame, from that time age. I don't think it's the same as, you know, I think that is a, I hate to use the term dying off breed. It's an endangered species. To say anything less, I think it's kind of an endangered species. And I think we really, really do miss that and need that.
It's true, and not only do we definitely need a lot of our, as you had mentioned, a lot of our shows on Trailblazers lead towards conversation on hierarchy, on um, what's going on with the roles in the family. How men are sometimes they get overlooked as to the amount. Well, what they're doing gets overlooked, and they don't get looked at. Well, what they're carrying on their shoulders. In other words, we carry a lot of hats, and sometimes it doesn't get looked at. We've covered so many bases on family topic, and we could keep going. And one of the things that we had mentioned was the fact that um, there's a lack of communication, and some things are missing. And I was at work, and I'm thinking, and I'm like, well, one of the things that we don't have that used to help out with that dynamic was Big Mama. Or where's Big Mama? Like, Big
Yeah.
Mama packed her bags and left. Big Mama said, I had it. I'm packing up. I'm leaving. Like, where's Big Mama at? So, thinking on that, it's like this would be a good show topic because the things that we got going on, the things that need to be taught, family values and everything, those things used to come through Big Mama, and we don't have that now. So, we need to talk on that. We need to understand. And like I told Taisha earlier in the day, I'm like, Big Mama, she controlled the family unit. Now, everybody wasn't always on board with the dynamics that were set up for Big Mom by Big Mama. You always had your strays, your stragglers. Every family has its elements, but the one thing that didn't get stepped on was the authority of Big Mama, the teachings of Big Mama. So that's what we want to cover today. That's what we want to look at. We want to, you know, what was it that Big Mama brought to the table
Yeah.
that made everybody listen, and why is it that there is a lack of or an absence? Why has Big Mama gone MIA? And I know that Kaisa brought in a few examples concerning her own. My Big Mama was I had two because you have two sides of the family, and both of my grandmothers were Big Mama. Like when my grandmother was alive on my father's side, everybody went to her house for the holidays. Um, Me being that middle child, having two families, Big Mama also played a role on my mother's side. So my grandmother and my uncle kept people together. Like we're gonna meet for dinner for Christmas,
Hmm.
Thanksgiving. We're gonna do this.
Right.
And that disappeared. Another thing that my thought process went to was the fact that we have a Big Mama, but we don't have a Big Daddy, or we don't have a Big Papa. We call, Biggie we used to call him Big Papa. But I'm saying we didn't have, the phrase Big Papa didn't come with the role of head in the house as much as Big Mama. Big Mama was the one, and I even looked up the definitions to the phrase because or the title because it's like it had to come from somewhere. And the Chinese had their standards, and everybody's got their definition of Big Mama. So, what did Big Mama mean to you in your family? But I know in my family, most we'll say black families, so to speak, and maybe Hispanic, we had a big mama who like controlled the environment of the family, or the direction of the family, pointed out family value, family morals, and kept the family knitted even when there were arguments, fights. You know, Big Mama was quick to tell you, look, get your crap together, but don't bring it here. Do
Right.
what you have to do, but this is a family outing. We don't act like fools up in my house on Thanksgiving, Christmas, or any other time. Big Mama set it up. Big Mama took care of a lot of the kids, grandkids. From time to time, Big Mama would step in and help out every now and then when it was time. So that's what we want to talk about. Where is Big Mama gone?
Yeah, we need that. What's that? We need what's her name? Um, Dora the Explorer or Carmen San Diego or one of those to come in and find the Big Mama. We need to find her. Latanya was making some really good comments
Hmm.
throughout. She was saying, let me get back to her comments because I was like, they were really, really good. She said she had a big mama and everybody loved her, but she said, Big Mama was gangster for Jesus too, and that was true. I know mine was.
Oh
She
yeah.
was you ain't cussing her house. She didn't swear herself. You know what I mean? That wasn't something she did. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? She said Big Mama meant safety and security. What was it? Where'd she put it? Safety, security, and spirituality. Big Mama made ends meet with a fixed income. I know that's right.
Hmm.
You know, Big Mama was also the one that helped out when children went in the wrong direction. She helped she helped to raise her grandkids. That she did because she was the one person in my life that I knew always had my back. I even lived with her for a little while. She was one both of my grandmothers, um, to be truthful and honest, they were the two women in my lives and my aunt, that always showed me unconditional love. Like I always knew if nobody else loved me, they loved me. If no one else thought I was going to be somebody, they thought I was going to be somebody. They knew I was going to be somebody special and would always tell me, don't listen to what nobody else says. I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your auntie. What did I say? And that's Big Mama. That's Big Mama. Like she was that one that was going to tell you, no, you are somebody special. You are something. God got you. You don't be doing all this other craziness because you are somebody special. You are beautiful. That was Big Mama.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that was the same standards that both of mine held, on either side. It's funny because when they both passed away, the family dynamic passed away with them.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And that is so evident. It's so evident, and it's so. I mean, you when I look at what my family used to do and how we used to be as a family unit on birthdays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and other occasions. Yeah, it was a thing. I mean, and it's gone. Like she passed away. Now family barely talks. Family barely gets together.
Hmm.
And a lot of people would say, well, why not start it on your own? Because along with Big Mama came authority. Along with Big Mama came a respect that you don't just get and you don't just give away. And she earned it. She earned her stripes. She took care of business, and a lot of family members aren't up to the task of doing that now.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, like it's a situation where, like, right now with the way family dynamics is rolling out, Big Mama, and I talked to you about it earlier, and we agreed. I mean, we did agree, like, it's not so much a age thing, but Big Mama had experience behind her. Big Mama had years behind her, and Big Mama did things that or experienced things that she could lend out to her children and her grandchildren. That experience was everything. And right now we have, like I told you, we have women right now in the big mama role, and they're like 30 years old. Like we got young grandparents. Um, and again, I agree that age doesn't always have to play. It's about the maturity level, but I also think it's just the experience and things that Big Mama went through. Big Mama could tell you because Big Mama earned her stripes. She did.
I
Um,
think I don't like the reason why I say I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's like I think that you can not necessarily demand that respect. I think like with Big Mamas, it was something that was given. Like I said, it was something that they started with their kids, and then when they had grandkids or other family members, or they were that person in the neighborhood that would kind of like other kids were able to go to and talk to, and she just was that positive person, and it was just known for that. She kind of earned that respect, and when they pass on, that mantle usually goes to somebody else and not necessarily somebody older in age. It could be somebody that maybe spent a lot of time with Big Mama, somebody that the other family members just kind of know when Big Mama goes, she gonna be next, she's next in line. Big Mama's gonna pass the mantle along to her. But I think that what's happened is a lot of people don't want to take on that mantle. I think in this world that we live in today, it's that I think that a lot of people are just all for themselves. The family dynamic has changed, and unless you're in a family, right? Big Mama was the community pastor. She was the community go-to person. You know what I mean? And I think there are some. I don't think Big Mama has disappeared completely, but I think she's not as prevalent as she was like when we were growing up. I don't think that role is as I can't think of the word that I'm thinking of, but I don't think people today think of it as necessary as we did. And I don't think children today, they don't want to listen. They don't want to, you know what I mean? Like they not trying, they gonna go to Big Mama's house and still be trying to be flippant. They still gonna try to be outside, smoking their e-cigarettes and smoking their weed and doing all of that stuff. And when you try to tell them, pull your pants up, like Big Mama wouldn't be going for the pants down around your behind and all of that stuff. In her house, you'd have had to put them pants up. Like today, I could see today's kids being like, you can't tell me to put my pants up. You know what I mean? Like I could see them arguing with Big Mama. So I just think it's a different dynamic than when we were taught respect. We were taught respect our elders. We were taught, certain things. And today, if your child is blatantly wrong, that parent will still go to school and argue with the teacher because that child got in trouble. Or if you say something to a kid, that parent is going to fuss at you for saying something to their kids. So kids no longer have respect that we had growing up. So it's just like, oh my goodness, Big Mama made the best. My grandmother didn't make yeast rolls, but she made the best cast iron cornbread. Like people, cornbread. Every get together, Grandma, you making the cornbread and the cornbread stuffing. Like she was known for certain things, you know what I mean? Cooking and this and that. And it's just like these things, I just don't think people don't think of them as important as we did. They don't realize that the family dynamic is falling apart. They don't realize that there's things that even the people who grew up in our time, like even people our age in their 40s and 50s, maybe early 60s, like y'all should be missing this stuff. Y'all should be missing, like we should be the people that the younger generation can come to, but too many of us are worried about ourselves. Too many of us are trying to get our own, and I ain't got time to be trying to build nobody else up. I don't got time to be trying to help nobody else out. I got to get my own. So how can there be a Big Mama when everybody is just worried about themselves?
True. And here's the thing. See, for me, that's where age kicked in. Um, because there again, there was that experience. There was that, okay, this is how we do things, and that's why I was pointing out in our conversation we were having earlier, Kai. Like you get you do have the younger people, but they're all for self right now. They're all for self. And I mean, just like Latanya just said, like we are too selfish, and we focus on ourselves, and everybody's into their own thing. Big Mama took the time to be connected.
Right.
Big Mama knew family members. Big Mama knew what every family member was about. Um, she showed love to the ones that got in trouble, as well as the ones that didn't.
Right.
She family was family, and that's what was taught. Right now, that's not something that's taught in the family. Right now, that's not something that's valued. Everybody's in for self right now, and due to that process, I mean, they're not showing that they have any family value in that way. So the lessons aren't being taught. Even the males in the family understood the lessons that Big Mama was teaching, and a lot of them, we say that women can't teach a man how to be a man. Well, she can teach certain family values, and Big Mama proved that. So, with the lack of Big Mama, there are family values that in some families are missing that she brought to the table, and it's a sorry thing. Like you said, we should be missing that. I
Right.
know I am. Like I miss my grandmother, both of them. I miss them dearly. Um, I miss what they brought to the table. I miss the family gatherings, and I could literally sit there and I could invite everybody to the house. We're gonna have family outings. We're gonna do this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, I know my family members, and it's not a situation where people are always just gonna get together because you ask them to, or you assume the role.
Right.
That's not something. That's why I've said Big Mama earned her stripes. Big Mama controlled things because there was none of that back and forth when she said something.
Right.
You know what I mean? When Big Mama said it, she meant it. And everybody knew it. Don't cross Big Mama. You can go out there and act a fool all you want. You can go out there and not pay attention to all of just because you had Big Mama doesn't mean you was perfect.
Right.
You had plenty of them, and we watched the movies even where you got the son that's going out there doing craziness. Everybody got secrets, even the older ones. Big Mama's kids out there with certain situations in their lives that they have to try to deal with, and some things are secretive that come out on those little family outings and stuff like that. It was something that Big Mama did. Everybody paid attention to it.
Right.
Everybody paid attention to it. They don't I can't if I'm 30, I can't tell my 28-year-old, cousins and whatnot. Okay, we're going to my house. Everybody's meeting at my house. This is what we're gonna be doing. And then set a dynamic. I can be an example, but a lot of people don't want to be told how they're supposed to do things, or they half of them they already know. You can't tell me. It's like in Drumline when Nick Cannon was like, you can't teach nobody can teach me how to do me. That's the mentality that a lot of youngins have now, that or the younger crowd, young generation. Or if you're 40 and you've got a 40-year-old, somebody that might be older than you or younger than you can't right now tell them anything. There was an authority that came with Big Mama. I mean, hard to break it down, but there was something about her. You didn't cross her. All the nonsense was left at the front door when you walked in for dinner. If
Well,
you
yeah, I mean,
have,
and that's what I'm saying. Like it came with the respect that was taught. You know what I mean? Like we knew because our parents knew. You know what I mean? Our parents knew you do what she said. So they taught us, like, now when you go into this, when you go into grandma's house, when you go into Aunt Susie's house, you be on your P's and Q's. You better behave when you get in here. You better listen to whatever she tell you to do, because she gonna pop you with that wooden spoon. I'm not playing with you. She not, you know what I mean? It was told to us. And we knew we may have tried it once or twice, like, yeah, whatever. This is auntie. She loved me. She let me do. Okay, you go on ahead in there and you try it. And the one time we tried it, like somebody said, we weren't allowed, they weren't allowed to say, but there were certain words you couldn't say, there's certain things you couldn't do, and you learned it. You learned it. Don't play. And like you said, and I've said, kids will test the waters. That's what we do. Animals test the waters. You know what I mean? That's just all part of growing up. But you tested at Big Mama's house, you learned real quick that she meant what she meant. She meant what she said. She wasn't like your parents that might say, I said no, and then turn around and give it to you. When Big Mama say no, Big Mama mean no. When Grandma said no, whoever it was, when she said no, when she said don't do this, when she said sit down, she meant sit down. I didn't tell you to come in. What you doing in here? You know what I mean? You learned that, and it was like one of those things that was passed down from whatever to whatever. And when that person passes, you hope that somebody else picks up that that thing, like in the movie. You know what I mean? That little kid was like, the family is falling apart. Big Mama would not want to see us doing this. We have got to get back. Big Mama would want us to get back together. Big Mama, you know what I mean? That little kid brought the whole family back together. He them was his parents and his aunties and his uncles. He was probably 13, 13 years old, and he was able to bring the whole family back together. So I don't think necessarily it's an age thing. It's just somebody has to be willing to say, okay, Big Mama's gone, but we not gonna stop the tradition. We not gonna discontinue what she brought to the table, and somebody's got to be the person to keep it going. And yeah, at first, maybe there will be some people who buck up against it, but that doesn't mean that you stop, because we've stopped. And now look at where, you know, our children are and our grandchildren are, and with the state of a lot of families now, because people just said, well, Big Mama's gone. We're just going to let the family fall apart. And ain't nobody going to listen to me. So I'm not going to do it. You know,
uh, I still say it has to be a situation where people, again, we can't, it's not a situation for me where I feel, I don't feel like it's everybody listens to everybody, and any old body can pick up the reins and just do what Big Mama did. For me, I don't feel like that's how that works. Because of the people that we have in our families right now. Um, you can try and try and try again. Some people are just stuck on what they feel is right, what they know is right for them, as to where when Big Mama was in control, Big Mama was like, I mean, shoot, Big Mama overrode in a lot of instances. She didn't do it on purpose, but she overrode even what the parents were saying at times. That's how much pull she had. Like, you'd be like, Jenny, now you know that boy don't need that. You stop telling that boy. You know what I mean? And then people ended up loving the fact that they could go they could go to Big Mama, but they also knew not to cross her. I think that is a dynamic that not everybody has, not everybody can use or apply. But let's
no,
go
and you
to
might not be able to be the person that people don't cross, but you can keep certain traditions alive instead of letting the family fall apart, which is what people do. People just let what one person did, those families, those get-togethers, the family reunions. Like after my aunt died, we haven't had a family reunion. My daughter is 20, going on 24, and 25. 25, And the last time we had a family reunion, I was pregnant with her. We had just had one, and then my aunt passed, and we have not had one since. So I mean, we have cousins, and our cousins are married. Our cousins have kids, and none of them have met each other. We used to have a family reunion every 2 years, and
Mm.
after my aunt died, we haven't had one. And then the next time we get together, we only get together now when somebody dies. And that's when the last time we got together was when my aunt passed away. So my aunt or my grandmother, I don't know, I can't remember which one passed first. But I mean, that was the last time you've seen everybody. And then sometimes you don't even see everybody, like little cousins and things like that. Sometimes they don't come up because they were little. They may not remember her like you do. Like I remember my grandmother because I was here. I was with her. I got to see her every day. Cousins who maybe only came up on Christmas or special holidays, they may not remember her. You know what I mean? So when she passed, you may not get the whole entire family together. You're going to get the ones who remember her, who are around her a lot, and of course her children and her grandchildren. You know, look at she was saying, look at it from both ends of the equation. Look at where the disconnects lie, and matriarch is just one part of the equation. Yes, definitely just one part of the equation, because it's not just being the matriarch of the family. There's also there's also other parts to it, and the disconnect, like you were saying, I think we both have good points. You know, to our generation, I think is the last generation that really saw that family unity. And I'm not by any means saying family unity is gone, because Latanya was saying she still has a big mama, and the other young lady that's in here, she was still Key. If I'm saying it Key or Kai, she was saying that they have one. Um, so there's a lot of people who either have a big mama, or if they don't have a big mama, their family is still united. They still get together. They still get together at, Christmas and holidays. Maybe they have families, gatherings on Sundays. Maybe they still have, family. What was the word I just said? What was the thing I just said? The big family gathering,
Reunions.
reunions. Maybe they still have reunions every couple of years. Like am in no way saying that this part of the family is gone, but I think that a lot of families, it has died off. I think that either, when that person, whether it was, we say big mama, but whoever's home it was, whoever that person was, whether it was grandpa's house or grandma's house or auntie's house or sister's house, whoever's house it was, I think when that person is gone, if no one else picks up the baton and continues the traditions, then it just dies off and people go their own way. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to try to be the person to tell everybody what to do. But I think just keeping the traditions alive is also a big part of it. It's not just Big Mama was a place that we gathered at. It was a home that we came to get together. She was the glue, exactly. That person was the glue that for the family. You knew where you were going for Christmas. You knew where you were going for Thanksgiving. You knew, maybe even birthday parties were all done at her house. You knew certain things were, you knew these things, this is what we were doing. And right now it's not like that. Everybody's fighting for, no, my house, no, come to this. I ain't going to her house. I don't even like her new boyfriend. I'm not, you know what I mean? So there's just way too much of all of this. So then you got this cousin's over there, this sister's over there, this, and everybody's doing their own thing. So now everybody's house hopping when we all used to be centralized at one place.
Let's see. Here's another thing, and I think you briefly just touched on it. But Big Mama, it wasn't just about the outings. It wasn't about the dinners. It wasn't just about, yeah, that brought family together all at once. But when we're talking Big Mama here, we're talking in terms of of not just tradition. We're talking, okay, the traditions are nice, and yeah, to a degree, like Auntie could get together with some other family members and form, plan a reunion or something like that. That's fine. Those things, yeah. Let's get together and have and have dinner on Christmas. Anybody can do that, but Big Mama was bigger than that. Big Mama entailed more than just the outings or the get-togethers. She was more than just a tradition. It was a way of, like, Big Mama taught. Big Mama directed, which is what we're missing. Big Mama was that woman that, like, she taught her kids, and then she turned around and taught her kids' kids. She went and taught her grandkids. The neighborhood kids knew what she was about. Like, it was a standard. It wasn't just like just get-togethers. She was a standard, a way of living, and she taught that to her family members. She taught family value, and I don't think that is something that gets taught now. It's like it was said in the comments. It's like, okay, but what has that been replaced with? Toxic people that lack respect for people and things or things. It's a lack of common sense and accountability. Big Mama was all that. Big Mama was about accountability. Big Mama was about common sense. Big Mama was about the respect. And which is why you never walked into Big Mama's house and gave disrespect, because she was about that respect. And she would put her foot in your behind if you even thought about it. Like this, she was that authoritative figure for the family. She would be what we would consider to be the sheriff of the family. That's what she did. And I like how you said, anybody could, it could have been anybody's house, or anybody could pick up a particular role. I got that. But
Well,
for
no,
me,
that's not what I said. I said that someone needs to pick up the mantle when the person that is Big Mama or Big Papa or whoever it happens to be in your family passes on. No one chooses to pick up the mantle, even if it's just for get-togethers, even if it's just to keep the family unified as going, even if that's all you can do. Even if all you can do is say, well, we're still going to do Sunday dinners. Even if it's something to keep the family unified, nobody even wants to do that, is what I was saying. I'm not saying anybody can just throw, a whole dinner or something like that and it's no big deal, because it is a big deal, because families aren't even doing that these days. You know what I mean? There's a lot of families that don't even get, like, we know people who have nowhere to go on holidays. Hi, Kenyetta. That we know people. Nah, my family ain't doing nothing. People don't do that. Or you got a house hop because they're not coming together. This person's got something going on. This person's got something going on. This auntie's got something. Instead of everybody coming together like they used to, now everybody wants to do it separate. And part of that unity is what kept the family unified, in addition to Big Mama. But they had to have a centralized place. She couldn't have kept the family together if her son over here was having a dinner and her daughter over here was having a dinner and her uncle over here was having a dinner. There'd be no way to keep the family unified if everybody was doing their own thing.
I
It
got
made it
that.
easier because she
And
was able to pull everybody together.
I got all of that, and I agree with you 100%. I'm just saying, for me, the Big Mama effect was way more than just getting together. I mean,
No,
she
I'm
was
not
able.
saying that's
I
all it
know.
is, but
I'm
I'm
just
saying you got
saying,
to
for
start.
me,
We have to start somewhere,
that's fine.
because
We
right
can
now
start
she's
somewhere.
gone.
That's
She's
fine.
gone. And like you said, people ain't going to listen to just any old body. So if she's gone, and you're saying they're not going to just listen to any old person, then you got to start somewhere. In order to bring that role back, if it's even possible, you still have to start somewhere.
What's supposed to happen is the family, if you lose Big Mama, the family should come together with everything that they've been taught and function as though she were still there, using the same values. What has happened is Big Mama is now gone and everybody goes their separate ways.
Well, that's what I
And
said.
I'm not talking in terms, I mean, we can point it to the physical, but I'm saying everybody becomes their own family because of the fact that the values are not kept. The values that she taught are not kept. Now everybody wants to do their own thing. Everybody wants to be about their own thing. Big Mama was a type of, again, I'll say it again, was a type of authority figure. So once that's gone, now you got people trying to figure out, well, what works for me now that she's gone? What works for me? Not, okay, well, how do we keep the family together? It's, okay, so what's going to work for me now that she's gone? She's not here. Like, a lot of people feel lost when she's gone, not just because they loved her, but that family structure is now gone. Like, everything that she taught, and it's weird to say, but sometimes it ends up being lost. And at some point, the family was supposed to, as you're saying, you can stay together. The outings don't. You can have 50 million outings, and at every outing, the family's just gonna fight. Especially after Big Mama's gone. Every function, every. I've had situations. This was after my grandmother gone. You go to certain family members, and then they got brawls going on and everything else. These are things that wouldn't happen when Big Mama was there. But Big Mama's not there, and everybody's for self. Everybody wants to do things their way. What works good for me? So yeah, I'll go to this family function, but I don't like what Rufus said over there. I don't like what Janie said over there. So I'm gonna confront them. That wouldn't happen in Big Mama's house. Okay, during an outing. And now you got people throwing fists and everything else. You got people calling people out of names. Never would have happened. Never would have happened. But again, we're still having these functions, and every year, all the way up until it gets to a point to where Jimmy don't want to see Jimmy don't want to see George anymore. They done had their share of fights. I ain't going over there. If he gonna be there, I ain't gonna be there. So the get-togethers, that is one aspect. That's an aspect of it. But at the end of the day, the morality of it all, the not the morality, the reality of it all is that people get lost when Big Mama's gone. Now it's okay, what do I do for self? Which, okay, everybody has their own understanding of what works well for them. But that's not where Big Mama's thought process was. That's not where her training went. She was about family. She was about knitting, having family knitted together, working together, being a family. That's what the outings represented, was the fact that the family could come together and share time. So if people didn't forget what family was about, we don't do that like we used to. And for 50 million different reasons, but we don't do it like we used to do it. And I think that becomes a problem for the future generations after that. I think that is where we start to fall short. The things that we were taught by Big Mama are no longer prevalent in family. The family dynamic is falling apart, um, and we see it every day. So nobody can say, "Well, only sometimes." It's falling apart. The family dynamic is falling apart, and you have these men out here saying and doing what they're doing. You have women out there doing what they're doing, and nobody is working on the dynamics. Nobody's worried about that. Nobody's remembering any of that. And that's where the problem comes in. For
I think
if
that's where, those of us who grew up with a big mama or with a big papa or with that type of person in our lives, if we don't carry on the traditions, if we don't carry on after they're gone, if someone doesn't, like I said, if someone doesn't pick up and carry on teaching and remembering and the the legacy, that the stories that she taught, this is why, in older generations, you see all of these things on walls and things like that from all of these things, and they taught it generation by generation. These are the stories that they taught. you know Simone says, I think we have crowded schedules,
crowded,
for
yep,
sole purposes to divide. Yeah, right now, I mean, everybody is so busy. Everybody, you've got to work two or three jobs. You got to do this. There's a very limited time, and I get it. Parents are overworked. Parents are exhausted. And
yeah, they are.
they're trying to just make ends meet. The last thing they're thinking about is, okay, going over to so and so's house for a get together, even though they probably would like it. They probably would love some family time, but then, like Tony said, what was the last family gathering like? If we don't carry on the traditions, like you were saying earlier, if we don't remember the things that we were taught by this person in our lives and carry on those things, whether it's the lessons that we don't do what she did, then it all gets lost. Somebody has to, whether you start it with your family now, or somebody, continues it when, trying to get everybody together and trying to continue on the things that she did, then it just gets lost. Stories get lost when people stop telling them. So traditions get lost when people stop doing them.
That's true.
Where
That's
is
true.
she? She's waiting for somebody to pick up the mantle. Where is he? He's waiting for somebody to say, I'm going to be this person. My family needs somebody, and so I'm going to be that person. But I think a lot of people are, like you said, scared. A lot of people
Yeah,
are scared to even try because, like you said, no one's going to listen to me. Nobody wants to come to my house. Every time we have a get together, there's an argument, there's a fight. So people don't want to do it.
yep. Billie Jean married Johnny down the street, and Johnny was no good. So now people don't want Johnny at the house. you know, that's where Big Mama would have been like, well, this is what she chose. This is what
Right,
she chose. Right or wrong, it's what she chose. We respect her decision. She's
right,
family. You don't ostracize her because you don't like her man. These are the things that were taught that are no longer taught. And we as a generation now don't accept that type of stuff. We don't.
right,
We don't go for it. We don't, shoot. I don't like who she married, so I'd rather they not show up. Or I'd rather she show up and he didn't. Or I'd rather he come and leave her home. Like so now
right,
you're promoting with that, you're promoting family divide. You know what I mean?
right.
And which goes into a whole nother slew of problems, you know?
Yeah, because no
Well,
one's going to come and leave their family and leave
right.
their spouse behind, because that just causes, for example, you can't go over there. A man be like, well, you can't, if I can't go, you can't go. Or if my husband can't come, I'm not coming. If my wife can't come, and then if he does go or she does go without you, there's going to be an argument. So
Yeah.
now you messing with their marriage, you messing with their relationship, and it just causes discord.
Now, just
Right,
to keep
right.
it
Or if they're there, other people stay home. Right,
yeah. But here's the thing with that. We've all experienced it, and there's some people out there who you just don't want to spend your holiday with, or some people you just don't want to invite to your home. There are some people, and we've gone through it. There are people that you just is like, I'd rather they didn't come. I'd rather they not be around because you know that they're nothing but. In some instances, they're nothing but trouble. You know this.
right,
They may also start trouble. in a way to where you get in a family function, may be one of those people that's starting the trouble. But
Right.
you have to balance that out because the divide is still there. It's still happening. I'm not advocating that anybody invite somebody into their home that they're struggling that bad with. I'm not advocating that. I mean, right now I have family members that are like, yeah, you can stay over there. you know, this ain't a big
Yeah.
mama situation. Now you can't control who big mama let come to the house, but later on down the line, because it ain't big mama, you can control whether or not you invite or whether or not you go, because it's a
Right.
thing. And this is the mindset now. And everybody's got an opinion, everybody's got feelings. What are you gonna do with that?
Right.
So it's hard. And with
I
Big
think
Mama
Big
being,
Mama used to think, I think Big Mama thought that if we just loved each other, Big Mama was that person that was like, well, if we just showed him love and if we just showed him acceptance, everything will be all right. God said love, and she was that person that will kill you with some scriptures. She'd be like, well, God said, the Father said, well, Jesus said, and you'd be like, yes, okay, okay, I got you. Okay, I don't, okay, you know, and yeah, that's why we want to know who is going before we go to events these days. Yeah, because no one wants to go somewhere where there's stress, where there might be stress, and it's not Big Mama's house. So you knew at Big Mama's house, and we don't know how to get that in our own house. It's
yeah,
crazy that you
yeah,
go into somebody else's house, and why would you go to somebody else's? It's a family gathering. Like, why would you go and cause trouble? Like,
yeah,
why? Like, it just doesn't, like, you can't chill for, one day. You can't relax for one day. Like, I don't get it. I don't yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we,
See,
we need that Big Mama public service announcement. Like, there's a get together coming up, and I'm gonna
yep.
need y'all to be on your P's and Q's, and I'm gonna need you to leave your issues and your drama and all of that stuff at the door. Matter of fact, drop it off at the corner before you come down the street, and you
And
can
that's
pick it up on your
exactly
way
what Big
home.
Mama said. That's exactly what she would do. And if you tried to tell her, well, is Jenny coming? Well, if Jenny coming, I ain't coming. Big Mama wasn't playing that.
Right.
Big Mama be like, look, I don't care who you
Don't
got a
ask me
problem
who's
with. This is
coming.
a
I told
family
you to come.
function. So you bring your behind. I better see you behind there. This is a family function. We are family. We're gonna function like a family. That's
Right.
what we would do. Now that the authority figure is gone, now you can do. That's like being that teen that's like, I can't wait to get out of my parents' house because then I can do what I want. Now I can stay up until 3 in the morning and ain't nobody gonna tell me anything. I can go where I
Right.
want, do what I want. And I think when Big Mama came into view, I think when Big Mama, well, when she left view, when she left or we lost her, when that happened, everybody started doing what they wanted to do. Everybody had an opinion on what they want to do because again, it's about self and what's gonna work for me. And there ain't no big mama to tell me what's gonna work for me. I'm gonna do it my way.
Right.
Which
Right.
leads to another question like, okay, so with that being the case, are we gonna say that basically when Big Mama left, that we just totally dismissed everything that she taught us? Is that what we're saying we've done? Because Big Mama ain't here, and there is a demise in the family structure right now. I mean,
I think people remember, how, we remember in the back, they say raise a child up so that he'll never depart. I think we depart, but I think we always remember. It's in the back of our mind somewhere, because if you ask people about family, they'll say, yeah, we haven't gotten together since such and such, or yeah, we used to do that type of stuff, but that was when, great grandma was around. We don't do it, ever since she gone. So people remember, but like, it's like you said, now that there's nobody to make you do it, or to You had to, even if you did your own thing when you wasn't at her house, you knew when you went to her house, you had to act right. You had to put your act right shoes
You
on,
had to.
and in this house, you was going to be on your P's and Q's. You do what you want out there in the street, but you better not let Big Mama hear about what you're doing out in the streets, because she gonna call you on the phone and tell you to come over for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and then she gonna lay into you. We don't
Yeah.
even do that anymore. People don't want, and I'm loving to see a few brothers starting to hold each other accountable. I'm loving seeing you got to put them act right shoes on, Simone. I'm
Yeah.
loving seeing brothers starting now to be like, nah, you can't cheat on your wife around me. That ain't happening. How you
Hmm.
my boy and I'm gonna let you cheat on your wife and I know about it and I'm gonna be like, that's cool. I'm love seeing females holding each other accountable. Like, nah, you can't be my friend if that's what you're doing. Like, nah, I'm gonna let you. People want yes friends. They want yes family members. Like, they want to tell you the problem. This is what happened. This is what I did. This is what he did. This is what she did. And then they just want you to tell them that the other person was wrong. Because as soon as you start to say, well, I hear what you're saying, but let me tell you, you could have. And they be like, wait, hold up. What you mean I could have? I could have what? No, did you hear what I told you he did? Yes, I heard you told, but I remember you telling me first that you yelled at him. So what I'm telling you, sis, is that if you maybe didn't yell, he probably wouldn't have reacted. Nah, nah, nah. You know what? Let me get off the phone with you. Because people don't want to be held accountable. You know? They don't want to be held. Yes, quality friends with morals and integrity. I do not care if I'm wrong. Tell me. I know me and Tony have had one sister girl, Shalonda Coach Treasure Williams. And if either of us go to her with a complaint or, whatever it is, I need to talk to you,
Listen.
sis. Me and Tony just had an argument. This is what happened. And she'd be like, sis, now you know you didn't have to come that way. Bro, now you know I love you, but you could have said X, Y, and Z.
And the
I
thing
need
is, you
friends
come
like
in
that.
love. Like
Right.
like if you're going to approach somebody, like, with a fault, or even if they come to you, they're looking for you to take sides.
Yep.
Okay, if you're going to correct or give your opinion, do that in love. Do that
Well,
in
people don't
love.
even
Like,
want to hear it when you do it in love. People just want
they
you to
don't,
be on
they
their
don't,
side.
they don't. But at the same time, do that in love, like Shalonda did. Because seriously, like, if I have an opinion on something, I have an opinion, and everybody's entitled to it. I
Oh
could
yeah.
be wrong, but if you come at my moral compass, or you come at the way my thought process is, and you gonna come like you ain't got no brains, man. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you straight up stupid. Like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear
No,
that.
no.
Don't
I mean,
come at me that
there. Of
way.
course, there's a right and a wrong way to say it, but
Right.
people just don't want to hear it. People just want yes friends, and we need friends to hold us accountable, because those are people who really love you. We need family members to hold us accountable, because that's how you really show somebody that you love them. Seeing
Yep.
somebody walking towards a cliff and being like, "Yeah, girl, go ahead," and she's like, "Girl, I'm having a good time," and you like, "Yeah, girl," oh, she about to walk off, and then you want to be like, she's so stupid. Didn't she see that cliff? She asked you. You saw her walking towards the cliff and you just told her to keep on having a good day. Like, now, if you tell her she walking towards the cliff and she like, I don't see no cliff, then at least you warned her. But people don't even want to warn you, and people don't want to hear it. So, I mean, you
No,
got to
they don't.
know you got to know your circle, and you got to know whose circle you're in. Not just know your circle, but you also have to know the circle that you are in,
Yeah.
because you got to know, am I in a circle of people who are going to hold me accountable? And am I in a circle of people who are going to be okay with me holding them accountable?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oops. Sorry, guys. I'm
Now
trying to.
my thing is, now here's my question. Like, now we know, okay, Big Mama's gone. now we know what Big Mama brought to the table. We know what her role was in the family. We know it, unequivocally. We know it. So
Right.
now Big Mama's gone, and with the way the family's working, we also see that we have a generation of people that are coming up differently without a Big Mama, and they're not necessarily working the situation correctly. They're not doing things correctly. And when we see this, we want to say, okay, well, they need to be taught, or they're not doing what they used to do. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. Okay, the teachings are gone. The person that was doing the teaching is gone. We don't have a lot of we don't have a lot of people that are teaching what needs to be taught. So that becomes a problem. And we're looking at the problem right now. We're having a lot of discussions. We're looking at the problems that are going on. We're looking at how men are treating women right now. We're looking at how women are acting out or not understanding their men, and they're doing what they do. Where do we turn at this point? What do we do now that Big Mama's gone? And it's a big question for me, because we can continually talk on what it is. We can talk on what it is that needs to be done. But what do we do to get it back? Or we can talk on the issues that are there. You get what I'm saying? Like, we can talk about how Jimmy's disrespectful to his women. We can talk all day. But at the end of the day, what are we doing to supplement Big Mama now that she's gone? I mean, there is a question in there. It says, is Big Mama gone for good, or can we get her back? I think we can get her back. I don't know at the level that we had her. And that's just my opinion. Y'all tell me what your opinion is. But my opinion is, I feel when I look at my grandmothers who were Big Mama, and I look at what they went through, and I look at what they learned, and what they tried to teach us, and the way they went about it. When I look at that compared to what we have today to take the place of Big Mama, I don't necessarily know that we can get her back the way we had her. I don't know that we can do, because everybody is different, and it's not just about people who you know don't. I mean, I don't know that the respect level is there for other people like it used to be. That's just me. That's just how I feel. I would love to see Big Mama come back into the program. I would love to see Big Mama doing her thing in the family unit. I would love to see it. But again, I'm not quite sure we can, if we get her back, I'm not quite sure we can get her back to the level that we had her, because I don't think the experience is there that was there before. I know that there are people that go through experiences, but
Mm-hmm.
the way that Big Mama went and used her experiences to coach and teach, we got people that don't. I mean, nobody wants to go through anything, but there are people, they're not going to use their experiences and put them on Front Street to teach the family. They're not
Right.
going to do things the way Big Mama did them. Nowadays, women and men are built differently from what they were. So now I'm not sure we can get her back the way that we had her before.
We may not get her back the way to the level because, like you said, it's a different world, it's a different time, people are different. But I think that individual families, if you don't have a Big Mama right now in your life, in your family, still functioning in her role, if you do, then I think that somebody just has to know that they're going to continue. There has to be a person that's going to continue this when this person is gone. And I think that if that person is not in your family, and maybe you've never had that person in your family, you've got to start somewhere. So you start with your family. If you don't have a family, then when you have a family, or you start by being someone that the community can go to, because Big Mama wasn't always the person who had lots of kids and grandkids. Sometimes she was just known as the person and I think it was mentioned in the comments, she was just known as the person in the community that people could go to. She was that person that you didn't play when she told you, and you was walking down the street and she knew you were supposed to be in school. Where you at? Why you ain't in school? And you knew, don't let Big Mama see you. So maybe you just become that person. It's got to start. The way to get her back is that somebody has to start. That's the only way that anything is going to change, no matter what it is that we're talking about, men's mindset, women's mindset, household, no matter what it is, somebody has to start it. And we can't be responsible for everybody else. We can't. We can only be responsible for us. Like Michael said, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. If you want to make a change, you have to be that change. You have to be the person that started. So maybe you are the one that started, and maybe your whole family won't listen to you. Maybe so you start with your children, you start with your family, you start making traditions and doing things in your family, and you start being that person that they know. Mom ain't nobody to play with, or dad ain't nobody to play with. When they say what they say, they mean what they say, and that's it. But if we continue to say, well, ain't nobody gonna do it, ain't nobody gonna listen to me, I can't do it, and we don't do it, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be willing to step in. That's how you make change. Is you get you become the change, and then maybe you find other people who agree with you, or who are looking for the same things as you, and now y'all become a community. And Big Mama doesn't have to be all about blood. You know what I mean? So maybe I can help you, because we're both people that are trying to get Big Mama back. So you're going to help me start in my family. I'm going to check in with you, with your family. And now we're talking, and now, oh, we talked to this other girl, and now she's, this other family, and they want to bring it back. So before you know it, you've got 5, 6 families, and you're running this in your family. And then it just goes and it builds and it builds. But if people keep saying, I can't, I won't, they won't, why should I, then it never gets done.
Well,
It's like
here's
that.
what I mean. I like the way Kenyatta said it. She said on the other side of Big Mamas that are left, these young people want to tell her what to do instead of the other way around. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like, I feel like you can't tell. I'm looking back at my brother, who I love. I love him dearly, and he's 30 something now, but you can't go and tell him anything. Like, he's going to do what he feels is, again, good for him. So he will literally, like my mother, if I wanted to count her as a big mama, I could say that he would probably tell her what he thinks instead. When something was said, it's like, this is how this is gonna run. This is what, you do what you want, but I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that. And I think that, excuse me, I think that's what is being dealt with now. That's the mindset that I feel is being dealt with now. Everybody feels, not only are they in for self, but they feel like, again, just like Nick Cannon said in Drumline, you can't teach me how to do me. And they already have a mindset as to who they feel they are. So you can't tell them any different. You can attempt to, but they're in it to win it for them. And I don't feel like in this generation now, I could see where they would try to get. I mean, I could see Big Mama facing some charges, or Big Mama, you know, possibly getting the cops called, because Big Mama would probably try to go upside somebody's head with the way that these kids are talking now, to people who are adults. And it's one thing to have an opinion. It's one thing to be able to voice your opinion. It's one thing. It's another thing to have a voice. But it has to come with some level of respect. You don't just get to say any old thing. Like when I ever heard my own sibling, like when I ever heard one of my siblings come at my mother cockeyed, I mean, I would never ever was one that would ever come out of my neck towards my mother, let alone swear and cuss in the process. I would never call her out of her name. Like
But
that's
that's
just
that
not.
level of respect.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, and that is something that I feel. Again, my opinion is something that I feel is missing. That
But
level.
that's where that home training comes in. And that's what I was saying, why it starts at home.
It does start at home.
We have to teach our children this. And a lot of kids today, or the 20-year-olds, the teenagers today, that's not what they're being taught. Like I said earlier, those are the parents that are like, you can't tell my kid nothing. I don't care if my kid hit you in the back of your leg with the cart. You don't be yelling at my kid. Like, what are you talking about? Your kid, I'm bleeding. So what? Don't be yelling at my kid. You know what I mean? And so these kids learn that they could do whatever they want. You know, you got little, they parents are videotaping them and they're doing all this craziness, and it's cute when they cuss and all of this stuff. Instead of saying, no, those aren't the words that you use, but then you can't tell them no if those are the words that you're using. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? They copy what they see. So if you're using them, of course your kids are going to use them. How you going to tell your kids not to use them when you use them? You know what I
there it
mean?
is.
We have to mirror what we want our kids, because kids do what we do. They don't necessarily do what we say. We all know this. We were kids. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
But back in our generation, you did do what you were told. At least we did it when we were around our parents
For the
and
most part.
grandparents, when we were out in the street. You know what I mean? We
Yeah,
did what we wanted to do. You know, as long as we didn't get caught and we weren't in trouble, you know, all kids do it. But there was a level of respect in the home because that's what we were taught. You
yeah,
know, you got in trouble for saying certain things. You had to be in before the street lights came on. That street light came on and she opened up that door. She better see you walking towards the house. You know, these kids now, they 10 years old, they out till 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, why are you 10 out until 1 o'clock in the morning? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But that comes with the level of respect. And that does go back to the age thing for that part, because you have 15, 14, 17-year olds having babies, their babies, raising babies, you know, trying like I
and that's what I'm saying. Like for me. That's where the age kicked in because it's like the experience. Like, and I started the show with that. Like, you have girls out there right now who are grandmothers at a super young age. You have babies who their kids grow up and it's like she was more like a sister because she had me when she was such and such a age, and their ages are like super close.
right.
So it's like, now you treating the kid like and the kid is treating you like your siblings or your friends,
Yeah.
not like this is my mother. You know what I mean? And that is a problem. And that is a big problem in the family unit right now. Now how can somebody who's young enough to be somebody's grandmother who has kids, how can they be big mama? You know what I mean? Like how
But
can they
they
fit?
can be big mama because they've gone through things. They may be, maybe they're 30 and they're a grandparent. Maybe they had their kid at 14, now they're 30 and their 15-year-old just had a kid. But by the time that kid is 5, both of them, that 15-year-old who's now 20 and that 30-year-old grandmother who's now 35, she's been through some things, and for her child and for her now grandchild, she can be an authority figure because she's the eldest person in there, but she has to want to be that authority figure. She has to raise her kid
See,
like
maybe,
she has authority.
and respectfully, I disagree to a certain degree on that because I still don't see when I see Big Mama, I see somebody who has experience, and when I say experience, I'm talking about gone through the. When I look at what my grandmother went through, we ain't have to go through none of that. We ain't. We're talking civil rights movements. We're talking that was the generation that couldn't drink out of water faucets and couldn't go into certain restaurants and had to sit in the back of the bus and went to civil rights marches and all that other stuff. That they've got a story to tell on top of their lively stories, stuff that they went through with men, stuff that they've gone through raising their kids up. Can you hear me? Hello? But that's what I'm saying. Like it's a situation where yeah, it's a situation where sorry for the technical difficulties, but it's a situation where have you have young people that haven't had that struggle. They haven't.
Your your camera went out, babe. I don't know if everybody was able to hear you or if it was just mine that went out. I know
I
mine
don't
went
know. I
out
kept.
for a little
I
bit.
just. I stopped for a minute and then decided to keep it going. So we apologize to y'all for the technical difficulties. But again, what I'm saying is like the struggle was real for them. They
Yeah,
have a
but you're
life.
not going to have anybody today that's going to have a story to tell, like going through the civil rights movement and stuff. We have our own stories and things and
But I think
struggles
that
and things
those
that we are going
struggles
through today
But I think
versus
that
it's
those
way
struggles that
different.
they went through formulated who they were and made them who they were. Those struggles right there, I think struggles from the past were more in depth. And yeah, I'm not going to take away from the struggles that we go through now. I'm not saying that we ain't going through nothing because we are. There's strong struggles, hard struggles for those people that are going through at this time. I got that. But I'm saying this these struggles that they've gone through were weren't just struggles that they went through by themselves or alone. They did go through some of their own struggles, but they went through a worldwide struggle. They went through we're talking world wars. We're talking like it built a different person back then. And it was good if we can take the lessons that they taught us and build off of those and become what they intended us to be. But we as a people have decided, you know, what works best for me is what I'm going to do. It that just is what it is. Like the struggle was we have our struggles here. We do undeniably have struggles, but I don't feel that any of us have had the struggles that they had at
No,
that level. At
no,
that
we
level, and I
haven't gone.
think
It's
that each everybody's individual struggles builds or makes them into what they actually are. And I think those struggles that they had, that was what was real. We talk about kids can't even walk to school right now, and we got people like Big Mama and a few under them that had to walk a few miles to get to school. We had hand me downs. Kids ain't trying to wear hand me downs nowadays. Everything that they wore back then was hand me downs. I mean, they struggled not having the money, not having rights to do things. That built a different type of animal.
yeah,
That's different.
and like Kenyatta said, back then, family and togetherness was the thing. Like it wasn't just a movement or just the end thing to do back then. Black families, Hispanic families, like it was about keeping the family unit together. And when people talk about I want a wife like my grandmama, okay, but are you a husband like your grandpa? The family dynamic was different 80 years ago than it is today. you
And that's
know
true. That's true. The family
And
dynamic
that's,
is
part
different.
of that is where Big Mama came from. It was about family. Everything was about, family. Sunday dinners was about family. You stayed in the home until you got married. People weren't just moving out because, it was we tired of you being here. It's time for you to go. People, because money, like you said, money and stuff wasn't like that. So you stayed home until you got married. You went from your mama's house to your husband's house or y'all's house together. You know what I mean? Family was important. Family was the end thing. So family unity was different as time has gone on. The family structure has changed, and yeah, we have to look at what is being asked. Well, what do you mean by that? What we have to look at what is being asked as opposed to what is being offered. What do you mean by that? Um, um, family, the family was important. As time has gone on, you see in society, they're not talking about marriage as much. You'll see TV hosts and stuff. I've seen TV hosts and stuff where young people are talking about getting married and like, why do you want to get married? You're so young. You're only in your 20s. You need to go out there and enjoy life and fool around a little bit, and then, maybe somewhere in your 30s settle down and get married. Like, they're not pushing the family dynamic anymore. They're not. Music and TV and, everywhere you look is not pushing family. We can go,
But
we
here's
can
the
turn.
thing: they get together. You get people. They get together, and they want to act like their family. When it comes to, like, you get a dude, he gets with a girl, which is a topic that we've talked on. But you get these guys now that are like, "This is my woman." Okay, but where's her ring at? Like, you're treating her like she's supposed to bow down to you. You putting everything on biblical terms with this woman, but you're doing everything but marrying her. Because again, that's not something that's being pushed. That's not something that's being talked about.
Right.
But the expectation is there.
Well,
The
yeah, they expect
expectation
you
is
to act
there.
like a wife without the ring.
Yeah,
Treat
yeah.
me like a
Women,
husband before I make you a wife.
women expect men to take care of them when you're dating. Okay, but there's no commitment there. There's no, you're
Right.
individuals until you're married. You still file your taxes single.
Right.
you know,
Right.
you
There is
still
no
file your taxes
dating.
single
There's no dating. It's single or married or divorced. So which one are you?
on them on them tax papers. Like, there's no in between. And but yet we want the role without the obligation.
Right.
That's what that comes down to. It's like, I want all the, but the other person in this thing, they have to be obligated. I can do this without the obligation of a ring, but she better have my dinner ready. She better have, you know, my house neat and cleaned. Um, she better ask me before she does anything. I mean, all of this stuff, like, it don't make sense. And then, and if and then, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna say that. That'll get me in trouble. But anyway, you have to be ready to be obligated in the right way. Don't treat somebody like they're, and again, Big Mama taught that. Big Mama
Right.
taught that.
Right.
Big Mama taught that. But you have these people, they get with somebody and they treat them like, oh, they're like they done been married for 2-3 years.
And that goes
Like,
back to
don't.
the new societal norms. Those are the new societal norms, where back then societal norms was you didn't fool around, you didn't play around, you wifed her, and now you could do what you want. You don't We didn't. And it's not that people didn't play house, it's not that people didn't, do things, but it was more unheard of. You weren't proud to be unwed and pregnant. It wasn't the thing that everybody did. They sent you away to aunties down south, and you know what I mean, and stuff like that. If you got pregnant without being married, or you hurried up and got married,
Yeah.
before you started showing. And today it's just the thing to do. It's no big deal. um said, I mean,
We
we
got
have to look
clarity
at
on.
what we as men and women are asking of each other, as opposed to what we offer each other. Some women are asking for traditionalism but don't want to be traditional. Some men are asking for wifey duties but don't want to act like a husband. Oh yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
we just touched. We just touched
Yeah.
on it as you were as you were answering it. That's where we went. Great minds think alike, but that's exactly what the situation is right now. And again, you can take it back to, okay, where are the family values? Where are the family
Yeah.
values? And we know that Big Mama had them. Where are the family values? You can't treat a woman any old way. She ain't obligated to you. Women, stop letting men treat you any old kind of way, like y'all married. I know it feels good when you act like that. Y'all are together, and hey, been there, done that. Y'all are together. We a couple, and and in the back of your head, couple equates to being married and everything. But guess what? At the end of the day, you are not obligated to the other. I'm not
Well,
saying
you're
go
not
and cheat.
committed, and that's what women think.
Yeah,
A couple to a woman means committed. He's committed to me. He's not
yeah,
going nowhere.
yeah,
If in like we've talked about before on several different shows, nobody's having the conversations before they make any type of commitment to each other, whether it's
yeah.
marriage or relationship. Nobody is having conversations before they blew up. He's cute. She's cute. I like her body. I like his body. He got a nice car. Ooh, I wonder what she do in bed. That's my boo. And you don't know nothing about them. Half the time you don't even know their last name. Like, it's ridiculous how people just commit to each other and you don't even know nothing about this person, but that's your man. Like, you know his street name. You don't know his real name. What's your man's name? Pookie? No, what's his name? His name is Pookie. His mama ain't named him Pookie. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
We just call him Pookie. That's your man and you don't know his real name? Like,
Like,
come
like,
on.
stop. Women, stop letting men do any old thing. Like, come on. Like, I'm old school. I walk around. There are people I don't know, like literally don't know their name, and they'll walk up to me and start a conversation concerning something at the job, and they'll address me as OG, straight off the cuff, like I've got wisdom or something for them, and they show a form of respect. That's cool and all. You know what I mean? So these are the ones that, are paying attention to a degree. But you have the others out there that are like, yeah, that's my woman. She better not do this. She better not do that. Those are the ones you want to be careful of. The ones that you can recognize respect from, those are the ones, that you pay attention to, you build something with. But
And
you
you
got
you
ones
got to
like,
take your time
how
because
do you not care that your man is wearing his pants around like around his kneecaps?
I don't know.
How is that okay? How
I
is that
we
okay,
need to
sister?
have a show on
How
that
is
because I need some young women to come up and explain to me how that is attractive. I
tell
want
it
I want
for
them to
real?
know, because if a woman did it, she'd be all types of letters and garden tools and everything else, and they be saying she's easy
Garden
and
tool.
she's this and she got her butt showing, so she must want some. But a man can do it, and now they even so blatantly like they got the front side of them showing, and
Yeah,
it's supposed to be, oh, it's just the style. But if a woman did it, she'd be a garden tool. So I don't understand it.
another
I
thing.
don't understand it.
Another thing that Big Mama would not have put up with. You ain't gonna
Never
walk in her house like that. 'Cause she would tell you put them drawers up.
pull them pants up,
But
and she'd be like, "Where the rest of your skirt?"
and you'd be lucky if she didn't come behind you with a belt and pop you first before she said
Mm-hmm.
something. But
Mm-hmm. And
again,
Fred said,
women are gonna allow if women are going to allow this, it's going to be. You've got men out there wearing their drawers any old way. And then when you ask them about it, they're like, my drawers are clean. That's not the point. That's not the point. But you've got them doing that. You have them sitting on the couch playing their video games. They're not doing jack squat. They've got no job. They've got no ambition. And they expect you at the same time in the same day to come home from work and cook them some dinner. Like
Yeah.
what?
You
What?
been sitting on the sofa all day. I've been at
And they
work all day, and
complain
now
that
I
the
got to
house
come
is
home and
not
cook and clean.
clean. Yeah, the house. You gonna complain the house ain't clean? Are you serious? Like you gonna get mad about that? She don't
Right.
clean. She don't cook. Neither do you, bruh. Neither do you. Where stop for real? Like women, men are gonna do what you allow them to do. That's just what it is. Women, if you're gonna be looking for something traditional, you still need to build. You can't expect what you don't give. You can't do that either. Like that's craziness. Like I understand you may have been hurt in the past or whatever the case may be, but at the end of the day, if you want a traditional relationship, do what you got to do to have one. Don't look for things that you're not doing. Like
Right.
men are not always the guilty party. You know, it's
No.
not always the man that's the guilty party. If you want a good man, then you find a good man. You don't build him. You
This is
don't
not build a
expect.
man. There's no such
Thank
thing as
you.
build a man. It's
Exactly.
called
You
build a
don't.
bear, not build a man or build a woman.
Woo! Like, come on, for real. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna find a man, and I'm gonna make him what I want him to be. That's what we're doing.
I
That's
mean, the
what we're
men do the
doing.
same thing. Like, I'm gonna find a woman, I'm gonna get her. She looks right. So you assume because she looks a particular way that she's everything else that you want. And this is where we go back to those conversations that you should be having before you get into a relationship. And we all know that both men and women can lie about who they are, but this is why you spend time. We need to go back to, like we've said before, that whole process of talking. When we dated, it was called I'm talking to so and so, or I'm dating so and so, which meant we are taking time to get to know each other before we commit. Y'all jump
Yep.
right into commitment. And now
Yep.
you want to get to know each other. And I'm like, why are you committed to somebody you don't even know if you want to spend time with?
Tell it.
Now you done spent, after about 6 months, women, we call ourselves committed. I done spent too much time. Now I don't want to let it go. So now you just going to try to change him, or you just going to try to work with whatever it is, or you're going to try to change you so that you're okay with whatever it is that he wants or wherever the relationship is, because you don't want to let it go. What?
See,
If we would spend more time, and this is not just about women, this is about men too. If we would spend more time getting to know the person before you commit to them and put all your cards on the table, it is never too soon to put all your cards on the table. If you're worried about running somebody away, that means he wasn't the person for you, or she wasn't the person for you. You want to know as soon as possible that this is not the person for me, so you don't waste time. Why would
I
you want
mean,
to waste
it's
six
like well,
months?
it's like in the comments. Like you said, if you ain't willing to build together, get lost. Well,
Right,
my thing is like again, that's the conversation. Now you can be in a relationship and you can grow together,
right.
and that's fine. But for me, bring something to the table.
Yeah.
That's my
Don't
thing.
expect me to bring everything.
Bring something. You don't have to be perfect, but bring something to the table that we can work with. How you gonna build a car and you don't have any of the components to build it? You don't have nothing. How are you gonna build a relationship and there's nothing on the table to build with?
Mm-mm.
What you've got to build with women is a saggy draw, no job, playing video games guy. That's what you got. That's what you got to work with.
And
How
you
are you
want to
gonna
turn him
build that?
into a billionaire.
How are you gonna build off of that? Women, stop. Men, she is not. You're supposed to bring something to the table. Women are supposed to bring something to the table too. So, hey, guess what? If you got a woman who don't want to clean and don't want to work and, you know, just wants to use up all the money That's what you got to build on. That's what you got to build on. He said, "Hey, I got a job and I play." But here's the key in that sentence: you have a job. That's the thing. You have a job. I play video games. I have an Xbox upstairs. Hey, I have my games I play, and my wife allows me to do that. But guess what?
Hey,
I
hey, I
work.
don't allow you. You're a grown man.
See, but here's the thing. Well, see, in other words, she doesn't bother me when I do it. She doesn't have a gripe about me doing it.
No,
But
because like you said,
I
you
have a
have a
job
job.
and I
Right.
work 11 hours a day. So I think I kind of earn my leisure time. That's just me. Um, that's what I do. Like, and I'm not even on my game like that. I'm not. I
Nothing
have to
wrong
sit
with
home.
video games unless you're not doing any. Now, if you're getting paid to play video games, that we know some people who you can make really good money. If you are paying the bills in the house by playing video games, and I'm not talking about you get $100 once every 3 weeks. I'm talking if you are making good, livable income where you can pay the car note, pay half the rent. If you're making
Yeah.
good money, that's something different. That's your job. But if you just kicking back, got your feet up on the couch, she leaves to work, and you just on your Xbox playing the latest Madden, and it ain't earning you a quarter, and then you ain't picking up nothing, you eating bowls of cereal, and you got a mess everywhere. The sink is full of dishes when she come home, and now you looking at her like, "Where's dinner?" What? What? And women, why are you putting up with that? Just to have a man? Why? Now, see, that's something Big Mama wouldn't deal with, because she'd have to pull you or him aside. One of y'all she be pulling aside.
No, they both should. Again, it's going together. If I'm Big Mama, I'm pulling them both in, and it's like, let's have a conversation. What's going on? What's going on with y'all? Because Big Mama could have those hard conversations and didn't have to apologize for them. She didn't have to stutter step on anything she said. She was point blank to the point and let you know what she felt and told you what was, and then left it up to you to do what you needed to do. For me, yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with video games. There's nothing wrong with, having your time sitting down, chilling or whatever. But again, bring something to the table. Both y'all should be having the conversations and saying to yourselves, okay, what are we bringing to the table? What do we have? You have to have something to build on. If you don't have anything to build on, come on. What are you building? How are you gonna build?
Right.
Y'all, you're gonna look for something later and hopefully find something that you can build on.
You're gonna be sitting on a plot of land for 5 years talking about, yeah, one day we're gonna build a relationship.
Yeah, you don't
Hmm.
have to be in a situation where you're making mega money. You don't have to be in a position where you're driving a Lamborghini or you got limos and yeah, I'm not talking about that kind of build.
Mm-mm.
You need to have something to build a relationship on. I like how he said that, like build together because marriage is you're ever learning. You're
Yeah.
always learning in a marriage. Now I'm married and I'm always learning something, and my wife and I have my shortcomings and she may have hers.
We all
And
do.
yeah, and you work together. You build your marriage into something. And we've had people, that talk about our marriage, in a positive light. And it's like, okay, that's nice. We know what we deal with. We know what we go through, and we know that we're constantly building because that's what marriage does. You build, but you don't get into the marriage like a weekend. You're not married and you're acting you want the same benefits as being married. The government don't recognize that. Sorry.
Mm-mm.
Again, you can't file joint taxes like that. I mean, you're not married and you're single.
Yeah.
I mean, you could and possibly get away with it, but
You got to
government
have
may catch
common
up
ground,
with
like
you.
Fred said. You got to have a common ground, which comes
You
from that
do.
communication beforehand. You got to make sure that you two are on the same page. Do we want the same things out of a relationship? Do I want to get married and he doesn't? Then why are we going to be together? Otherwise, you're thinking, well, I'll change his mind. I want kids. He doesn't. Late. I mean, why? fellas, you want baby, she doesn't. Why are you wasting your time? You think you're gonna pop holes in the condom and you have a oops baby and they'll be like, yay! Like, no,
Now,
they're gonna be pissed off at you.
if they change their mind halfway through, you know what? I think I do want. Okay, that's possible because that may not be a. There are such thing as deal breakers.
Right.
So, okay, that might not be a deal breaker for you. That's fine, man. Children, that's a big issue for some. For others, I can either
But
take them
having
or
those
leave them.
conversations are what's important. You need to
Right.
know what is the starting ground, and you need to know what are your deal breakers. Like Tony and I, when we got together, I wanted to move. I wanted to leave the state. That was a deal breaker for me. I wasn't waiting 5, 6, 7 years for him to know if I was the one for him either. Like he knew he had 2 years to figure it out. If he ain't popped the question in 2 years, I was gone. He knew this. Like I want to get married. I am not playing house. So if you can't figure it out in 2 years, then there's no sense in me waiting. If you're trying to stay here for the rest of your life, there's no sense in us getting into a relationship. You have to, those are hard conversations to have. And people don't want to have those hard conversations because we're so afraid to be alone. We're so afraid to lose the person that's sitting across from, but he's so cute. Oh, she's so sexy. Oh, I want to get that. But you don't want to have those hard conversations and you end up wasting time. Like I just saw a post that said, if you know you are not the person that she needs, stop pretending to be and keeping somebody else's wife or husband on layaway. You are holding somebody else's wife or husband up, and you know that you are not what they really want. Like if Tony had said, "Yeah, I want to move," I want to move, but knew in his heart, nah, I got family here. I'm not trying to go nowhere. Get married? I don't want to get married. But sure, I got you 2 years, and but knew that that wasn't what he wanted.
Or
And
what
then
he's
when
going to
I
do.
said I wanted to move, he was like, "But my job just, I'm about to get a promotion. You think we could put it off for a little while?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that's a good reason." You know what I mean? Why do that if you know that you're not what somebody wants? Why hold that person up? And Tony had talked about this before. Sometimes guys will do that. And I've seen posts and videos like that. Guys will do that. They'll just hold you up because they don't want you the way that you want them to want you, but they also don't want somebody else to have you.
Yeah.
So they just hold you up. Now I don't know if ladies do that as well, but I do know I've had enough uncles. Hey, come here. I've had enough uncles say it for me to know that guys do it. I don't want you like that, but I don't want nobody. I don't want to see you happy with no one else.
Listen, there's plenty of songs out there that
Hey,
state
Coco.
that same thing. And the reason why is because it's a truth. This is what they do. So it is what it is. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you really need to understand what you're getting into. You need to sit down at the table and really examine if you're looking at this is my man, if it's a temporary thing and you're just trying out the waters, then that's what you say. If it's a situation where you think that this could be something, you want to make something with this person, then you sit down and have the conversations. Because otherwise, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a problem. You can't build on something. And even Fred was like, you also got to watch the ground that you build on. You have to have something to build. You have to have a starting point. You have to have the tools.
You
You
want
have
to
to have
make sure that
something
you're
to
building
work
on
with.
solid ground,
And people
not on
don't, they
lies,
do
not on
not have,
misconceptions.
they do not have the tools or they do not have anything on the table to build off of other than, okay, this person looks nice. This person looks hot. This person looks sexy. That's all you got. And if you've gone as far as to sleep with them, okay, they may have good sex. That's all you've got. That's all you've got. Now,
And
with
that a
a man
relationship does
knows that
not
a
make.
man can go to any other woman and get that sex.
Right.
So, what is he tethered to you with other than your body and your sex? What else is tethering him to you? And the same thing with women. Like, dude, what is she tethered to you with? What is it that makes her want to be with you for the rest of her life?
Right.
And had you had that conversation? Are y'all looking for something permanent, or y'all just kicking it? You looking for a Thursday night movie date? What are you doing? You gotta go see them premieres. You need somebody you can kick it with, and then hang with them at night, and then get a piece, and then go about your business. If you're
And
looking to
have
do
those
that,
conversations. Just
yeah.
have that honest, because she may not want any. I mean, that's the world we live in today, unfortunately, is that, it's the unspoken rule that, nah, I can just, women and men, I don't have to want a relationship. I can just want a freaky deek every now and then. So have that conversation,
Throw it
you
out
know?
there. Throw it out there. And yes, there are women that just want a freaky deek night, but a lot of men want that. A lot of men want that. And then I'm gonna speak from a man's perspective. There are a lot of men out there, and yeah, I'm gonna put it out there. There are a lot of men out there who want, they just want that. Then they fall. Now once they fell, when we get in a relationship, like, for some strange reason we may get bored. For some strange reason we may decide that the grass looks greener on the other side. But we don't want to leave the house that we're in either. So it's like we'll play in this yard, but then we'll go to the other yard and play too. Now when we get caught out there in that second yard, then we want to bring up the issues that we had that caused us to go to the other yard. And then you want to divert the fault onto the woman. We do that. And then we'll pattern it off, soften it up so that we can depart and be about our business. Okay? But here's the problem is most men know what they want in a woman. Most of us know. So we know what we have at home. We know what we have at home. But we just wanted to play in that yard. We want to live in this yard. So we don't want to necessarily lose what we have in our yard, in our home. We don't want to lose that. We just want to be able to play around in somebody else's grass, but keep what we have at home. So when we get caught out there, now we gotta man up at that point. We can't look like we jumped out or we did anything stupid. So it's like, well, we weren't, we weren't well for like the past 2 months, so it is what it is. You weren't giving it to me like I wanted it, or you were always arguing and this, that, and the other. Okay, cool. So if that be the point and that's how you feel, and you're not willing to work with her before you go to somebody else's yard, leave it alone.
Yeah. And
But that's not
these
what
are all
men
things
that's not
that Big
what
Mama
men
would have been
do,
on.
because men know that they know what they have at home. Men know what they already have at home. And it's not just men that do it, it can be women, but men know what we know what we have at home. So I'm going to speak from a man's perspective. We know what we have at home. Even though we may argue, we know what we got there. We know what connection we have. That's how come we don't like seeing her with anybody else. I listened to 3 songs that stated that last week. 3 songs before I went on my little getaway with my wife. I was listening to all kinds of music and found 3 songs that stated that same fact. Don't want to let you go because I don't want to see you with somebody else. But you just left her to go play in somebody else's yard.
Right.
And then you downplayed it. Like that's craziness. But that's what men do. That's what men do. So I mean, don't do that. Don't do that,
Yeah. I
because
mean, these are all
that
things
goes into
that
what
Big
my
Mama
wife
would
was
have been
saying. You
on.
wasting somebody's time. You're holding somebody else's girl hostage. That's what you're doing. Possibly two, because now you're letting the one with the grass catch feelings too. This one you done already wasted her time at home, and now you wasting the grass because you only wanted to kick it with her part time, but she catching feelings. Like it's a whole thing. And again, we're at that point where we want to go. We got 10 minutes left in the show. What we want to do is we want to make sure we circle right back around. to where we started, because our conversations, they tend to like go from point A to point B to point C. There ain't nothing wrong with it. It's what we do. And we enjoy our conversations, but we want to circle back around to Big Mama. And we want to say, I want to say that the reason why things are getting the way that they are, and we've always had men who were rolling. Papa was a rolling stone. I met one of my brothers at his funeral, at my father's funeral. Papa was a rolling stone. It happens. So there's nothing new under the sun per se. But my whole point for this show was that Big Mama helped to create family values. And we have a lot of the stuff that we have going on right now. A lot of it is happening due to the fact that we no longer have that family structure. And Big Mama was a big part of that in a lot of families. So that's just one instance of, or one thing that could be pointed at as the cause of, some family breakdown, um, and some family teachings. Again, if Big Mama taught you anything, and then you turn around when she's gone and you're all about self, you've disregarded the teachings. And right now you're not worried about family, so you're also possibly not too worried about what you're teaching your young ones. So they're coming up the same way. I got to get mine. It's about what works for me. And that's how they're rolling. So then we have instances where you've got men doing what they do, or what not doing what they're supposed to, and you got the same thing with women, and people are just off. And now we're sat here pondering, how do we fix this? How do we fix this? One of them ways would have been Big Mama, and she ain't here. So how do we fix this? How do we fix this? So how do you feel we fix this, guy? How do we literally fix this? Because it did come up. The question came up: can we? Is Big Mama gone? Is she gone
Yeah, I
forever?
mean, I'm going to stick to
Is
what
she
I
staying?
said. You have to be the change that you want to see. There's no there's no, you know, one single sentence that somebody's going to say that's going to fix it. For anything that we
Gotcha.
come up with, there's not going to be, one line or one thing that somebody can say that, no matter what somebody says, each individual person has to be willing to do it. You know, no matter what it is. If you say, how do we bring back the family unit? Well, people individually have to change, have to get on board with the family structure, family values. If Big Mama was the glue that held the family together, then people who knew Big Mama and had a Big Mama have to remember those values and implement them into their family going forward, and not settle for less. If Big Mama wouldn't like the girl that you brought home, or you knew that Big Mama wouldn't like this dude because he's kind of, suspect, then why are you dating him? I think a lot of us know certain things, but there's nobody to check us anymore. And like, it's been said over and over again, we want to do what we want to do anyway, a lot of times to
Yeah.
our own detriment, because we see the red flags, but we go for it anyway. We hope and we
Right.
pray,
Right.
and those
Right.
those red flags, those gut feelings are our mind, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, telling you, cautioning you. It used to be Big Mama that would be like, girl, come here, granddaughter, come here, grandbaby, come here, let me talk to you. And we don't have that anymore. So when your gut and your intuition speaks up, you need to listen to it. But the way to change it is for those of us who knew, and those of us who know better, and those of us that had those teachings, to do like our ancestors did, and continue the traditions, and continue, excuse me, the teachings, and teach the next generation, so that they can teach the next generation, so that they can teach the next generation. And we may have already done a disservice, because now we have 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, late teens, that are already in that you can't tell me nothing mode. I can do what I want to do, and they're willing to cuss you out, and you're their own parents, so they definitely don't respect anybody else. So The only thing, that anybody can do is to just do what you can do. You may not be able to change the mindset of the ones that are already 20, 30, whatever, but sometimes you can change it by your actions. People do watch. And so maybe you just have to be the change, as it was said, that you want to see. You have to be that positive light. You have to be that positive beacon. You have to be somebody that somebody can go to and somebody that can turn to. You have to be what Big Mama was. And
And I
maybe that
like
will
what you
inspire
said in the
somebody else.
beginning. Right. I like what you said in the beginning when you were like, it could be an individual family affair type thing. And, like Big Mama had like 5 kids. Okay. So them and all of their better halves and all of their kids show up, and that was a one big family thing. But sometimes, like you said, you might want to start with your family. You want to bring Big Mama back. This is how we suggest you start with your house, start with your family. If you have kids, especially if some of them are away college or whatever, if you have, maybe your sister wants to be involved, your brother want to be involved, just be okay. Let's get together. Let's start doing some family things. You may not, maybe maybe your husband's gone or your wife is gone, but you got a brother-in-law or a male figure that's around, who or a cousin who could help with the direction on these kids, on these young ones. You might as well bring them into the loop, as far as start with your own house. Start
Right.
with your own house, and then just branch off. Like, get your see if your sisters, see if your brothers want to come through.
Right.
I still have uncles, just visiting them. They're a mother and father to me, but yeah, they just mentioned inviting us to something for July. That's cool. That's cool. I plan on spending time in house. They got a big swimming pool, but but it's a thing where you have to start. I like how you said it. You have to it starts with you. Start the root of Big Mom. This is how you do it. Be Big
Right.
Uncle. It could be Big Papa. Whoever it is, start, because our young people need this. We need to regroup. You know, this has been a great
Right.
show. I've
Right.
enjoyed
And if you're
everybody's
watching this on
participation.
Right. If you're watching this on the replay, like if you're not seeing us live on Facebook or on YouTube right now, let us know below what you think. Did you have a Big Mama, Big Papa? How were they influential in your life? And, do you still have one? Are they still around? And do you think that they're what's missing in the family dynamic right now?
That's right. That's right. In the meantime, between time, keep what we said in mind, and govern yourselves accordingly. You know what I mean? What works for you. I mean, if you don't need Big Mama, then you don't need Big Mama. But I think the world right now is at a loss without them. And that's just my opinion coming at you. But we do love you. We hope that you
And we'll
have a
see you
nice,
next week.
safe week. And we will talk to you next week. Until then, peace. God be with you.
See you later.